Hi, I'm Anne-Marie from SoapQueen.com and BrambleBerry.com. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Soap Queen TV. Today I'm going to show you how to make an Annatto Yarrow embed cold processed soap. This recipe calls for an Annatto oils infusion, a Yarrow lye water infusion, and embeds to create an eye-catching design. It's scented with Bergamot Essential Oil and Rosemary Essential Oil to create a scent that's crisp and refreshing. The soap also contains poppy seeds for exfoliation. Now, that's a showstopper. This cold process project is one of my favorites from my book, Pure Soapmaking. I just love the combination of the textures and the colors. All the colors in this bar come from natural colorants like Spirulina Powder, Annatto Seeds, and Yarrow Powder. In addition to soap and cosmetics, Annatto is used in many food products to provide a beautiful orange color. Most commonly, you'll see it in cheese. This recipe does require several steps, so make sure you plan ahead before making this recipe, like a few days in advance. If you've never made cold processed soap before, please stop and watch the first 4 episodes of how to make cold processed soap on Soap Queen TV, or read the first couple chapters of my first book, Soap Crafting. It's important you get the really basics of soap making and lye safety under your belt before you try this soap, because this soap is a rather advanced recipe. First, we need to create the green cold process embeds. These embeds need to be made at least 2 days ahead of time, so be sure to plan ahead. Now, I'm going to gear up for safety. I've got my long soap making sleeves on, and I'm putting my goggles and my gloves on next. Goggles are extremely important to ensure that no lye or fresh soap batter splashes in my delicate eye areas during the entire soap making process. And of course, gloves are important to prevent lye burns on your delicate hands. I'm soaping in an area that has absolutely no kids or pets around, and it's got great ventilation. To create the embeds, first measure out Bergamot Essential Oil into a glass container and set this aside. To help the Spirulina Powder really produce a vibrant green color, we're going to add the powders directly to our hot lye water solution. Carefully add the lye to the water and gently stir until all the lye is dissolved. Now add 1 tablespoon of Spirulina Powder and 1 teaspoon of Yarrow Powder directly to the hot lye water and stir until there are no clumps. Phew-wee, this is really starting to smell terrible. Not to worry, that's totally normal. Make sure you're wearing your safety gear throughout this entire process. If you'd like, you can add sodium lactate to the lye to expedite the hardening of the soap, and in fact, I wouldn't even soap without it. The usage rate is 1 teaspoon per pound of soap. So in this recipe, we're going to be adding just half a teaspoon. Set the lye water aside to cool. I've measured and I've combined my oils, and my lye water has cooled to about 120 degrees. So now I'm going to carefully combine. Just pour this lye water mixture carefully down the stick blender. Alternate pulsing the stick blender and using the stick blender to sort of stir the mixture, and then continue stick blending and stirring until the soap reaches a very thin trace. Trace refers to the point in soap making when the lye water and the oils have emulsified. Once you've reached a nice thin trace, add all the Bergamot Essential Oil and stick blend until fully combined. Pour the batter into the mold. It'll be a very thin layer of soap, and then tap the mold on the counter to settle the soap. Allow the soap to stay in the mold for 2 days. To help prevent soda ash, I like to spray with 99% rubbing alcohol, but this is totally optional. Unmold the embedded soap from the mold. Then cut lengthwise to create 2 pieces. One piece should be about twice as thick or as wide as the other piece. Then use a cheese slicer to cut both pieces into slices of varying thickness. Don't worry about the pieces being perfect. Having different size embeds really creates a unique look to each bar. I'm getting some nice thick pieces in here and some thinner pieces. This will be great when it's embedded. The soap is a little soft still, and it's totally curling up. So flatten it out carefully and be extra careful with it. I just don't want to break this. Now that the embeds are prepped, it's time to create the base soap. The base soap is colored with annatto infused olive oil, so let's prep that first. I'm going to use a stovetop infusion method because it's quicker. Add 1 ounce of olive oil to a small heat-safe container and place 1 tablespoon of annatto seeds into the sealable tea bag and then seal that tea bag with a hot iron. Now place this bag into the oils and place that container into hot water. Bring the oil to a medium heat, around 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Allow the seeds to simmer in the oil for about 4 hours, stirring every 20 minutes or so. Remove the seeds from the oil. Set the infused olive oil aside to use for later. Now let's prep our essential oil. Measure out 0.8 ounces of Bergamot Essential Oil and 0.8 ounces of Rosemary Essential Oil in a glass. I love how these essential oils smell together. It's just so refreshing and bright. Now, because we're going to handle lye again, it's time to suit up for safety. So, got my long soap making sleeves on still, and I'm going to be putting gloves and goggles on to protect my delicate hands and my delicate eyes. As usual, I'm soaping in an area that has great ventilation, and I've made sure that I don't have any pets or children around. I've got my oils all prepped, and I've got my lye water all prepped, and of course, because I never soap without sodium lactate, I'm adding 3 teaspoons of sodium lactate to my lye water. Carefully mix the lye water and the oils together by pouring the lye mixture down the shaft of the stick blender. I do this because it helps prevent the air bubbles. Keep pulsing the stick blender until you get a nice medium trace. This takes about probably 45 seconds. Then add all your essential oils and use a whisk to combine them. Split the batter into 2 equal containers. To one of the containers, add 2 tablespoons of poppy seeds, and the other container, add 2 tablespoons of the annatto infused olive oil. Use a whisk to combine. Now, let's pour the soap into the mold. Beginning with the poppy seed batter, pour it along the bottom of the mold in an S pattern, using only about a cup of the batter. Repeat this process with the yellow batter, pouring it into the poppy seed batter. Continue alternating pours of the poppy seed and the annatto batter until all of this batter is used. Tap to get any of the air bubbles out. Now insert your green pieces into the soap in kind of random places. And, whoops, looks like I got my fingers a little bit soapy. That's why it's important to wear gloves. Just push it. All right, I think I'm gonna put one more right here. This looks good. I promise you, there's kind of no rhyme or reason to this. Your soap is gonna look great no matter what. Now, finish the soap by sprinkling calendula petals across this entire surface of the soap. If needed, you can use a spoon to gently push the petals securely into the soap. I don't usually find you need it though. Then finally, spritz the top with 99% rubbing alcohol to help prevent soda ash. Allow this soap to stay in the mold for 2 to 3 days. Here's a soap that I made several days ago. To release this, just pull gently away from the sides. I love these silicone molds, they have great give. And then push with both of your thumbs on the back. Ooh, I can see the airlock breaking. Just keep pushing gently. You don't want to rip the soap. Gently push the soap from the bottom to release from the mold. How does this look? This looks fantastic. I'm so happy with how this came out. Now I'm going to cut these bars, but I'm going to turn them on their sides and cut from the side rather than from the top because it helps to prevent drag marks from that calendula petals. Here we go. All right, using a non-serrated knife, cut from the side, and oh my goodness, look how awesome these embeds look with the poppy seeds and the orange annatto colored soap. I love that every cut is a surprise too. Now, if you want, feel free to trim the green embeds that are coming out of the very top or leave them. It's totally up to you. Once the soap has been cut into bars, allow these bars to cure for 4 to 6 weeks before using them. One note about natural colorants. They do fade. I made this about 6 to 8 months ago. This is the fresh soap I just made last week. So all natural colorants are awesome, and you may need a little bit of oomph from using powdered oxides if you want this color to really stay bright and cheery for more than about 3 to 4 months. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Soap Queen TV. Until next time, happy soaping! Pets or children around.